Hello and welcome to James Bond Club Ireland with me, Paul Lally, Andy Watson, and Sean O'Hare. We are down one man today. We're down Kevin O'Callaghan, who is on a mission somewhere in Austria. We've sent him a ticker tape message to pull out. We will hear from him, I'm sure, at the next one. But in the meantime, hi boys, how have you been getting on? What's been happening for the last few days since I saw you?
Good evening.
How's it going?
Andy, you're a little bit the worse for wear. What's after happening to you? What did you get pushed out of a plane by a steel-toothed nemesis?
If only it was something so simple. It was
right.
The more embarrassing incident of taking the dog for a walk along the beach, and he decided to run clean straight through me, throwing me up in the air, having me land flat on my back, winding me completely, and I've now woke up several days later with whiplash. So
Jeez.
I'm in great form.
Did you see the reactions you got there from your friends and colleagues? Shock
Oh,
from
yes,
Sean,
yes.
hilarity from me. So sorry about that. It is kind of funny, but I think Diane found it quite funny as well, right?
I only just, yes. It was like I say, it does fall on the back of just walking onto the beach and finding a rather pompous couple who had parked their car blocking the access to the beach. With me then saying to them, "Huh, I hope nobody needs medical attention on this place today.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to get anywhere near you."
And they were watching you going, look, he did that just to prove a point. He's after sacrificing himself just to show that he can't be medically stretchered out because of our car blocking the way. Excellent work, Andy. Well, we hope you feel better soon.
Yeah.
Sean, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I was watching a bit of Diamonds. I was on TV there the other day, so I was watching Diamonds Are Forever. Also listening to the Spectre soundtrack, doing a wee bit of a deep dive in that, getting back into a bit of Thomas Newman. So enjoying that. Yeah, just when I was working from home the other day, I had it on in the background a couple of times. So what a soundtrack once again. There's some great cues in there. So yeah, just catching up with a bit of Bond music.
I love the way you're such a soundtrack fiend. Yeah. I mean, your thoughts on Thomas Newman briefly, just like, because, you know, sometimes, remember when that Spectre thing came out, people were saying, oh, he's just repeated it. He's just repeated the same as the Skyfall one. Did you find that, or did you get an enjoyment out of it as a fresh piece?
Yeah, it took me a little while just to get used to it, because at the start I was listening to it going, oh, I can hear Skyfall here. There's another one of Skyfall. But when you watch the film, the music does go with it very well. And I've seen a couple of interviews where he's trying to carry across a couple of themes through the films with Bond, an action Bond, so to speak. But there's a couple of tracks in that soundtrack that are gold, to be honest with you. Is the Madeline theme. I can even say the words of the first tune, but just when he's walking across that rooftop and that Bond theme kicks in, that's top tier. It is brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff.
And there's some, what do you call it? The musos will get me on this one. What do you call it when it's music that is not, it's not on the soundtrack composed by the composer himself, but it's like ancillary music?
Yeah, sort of the background.
Yeah.
There's like I said, there's like tracks. There's a tune that's played when Bond is what do you call it? God, but Bond's about Marcus Garra's, what do you call her? Marcus Garra's wife.
Lutz. What's her name?
I
think we're thinking of Thunderball now.
Yeah.
Well, it's coming to us anyway.
That music there, she's walked through it. Yeah,
Monica Bellucci. Anyway, we know who we're talking about.
That's who it is. Yeah, amazing.
Oh, that's the classical piece. It's gone out of my head. Yeah, that is great. There's also a piece. Yeah. You know when they're going up the elevator in the hotel at the start, the same elevator that was in License to Kill. There's a I think it's a Spanish folk song called La Llorena, which is just, it's gorgeous. And
it's perfect.
And the way they slot it into because the whole thing is such a smooth movement, and they blend the music as you're going through it as well. That's a delight. That is really a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's brilliantly done. Brilliantly done.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about Spectre or music. We're here because we want to do just a brief retrospective of the year that's gone by, and then look ahead to what's in front of us, because this is really
Mm.
not to sort of just mull over stuff that we've already done. It's really to acknowledge the fact that on Friday we celebrated 1 year of the podcast, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. Now, when we were talking about this, we said it feels like it went really quickly, but it also feels like it's been around forever. I mean, what would you say? How does that work, right?
It's pure random. Like it's mad when you look back and saying we've been going 1 year, and as you say, we do a number of like interviews, different podcasts. We tend to record most Tuesday evenings, and the
Yeah,
years just slip by. But there's a bit of a back catalogue there. There's more to
yeah.
come. We have stuff sitting in the pipeline. So yeah, that year's flown by, but it does feel as if we've been doing this for a long, long time.
Andy, what are your when you
Yes.
when you see a Tuesday night episode coming up? Are you thinking, "Oh God, what are we gonna do?" Or are you like, "Yeah, let's just sit into this and have fun"?
No, I think it's great catching up with everybody for a start. It's some of the interesting things we've talked about over the last 12 months
Yeah,
have been fascinating and a real eye opener for me personally.
yeah. What's
But
been
on
eye
top
opening?
of that,
What did you particularly like about it? What did you find most informative or educating about the whole thing?
do you know, of all the things I really did enjoy a hell of a lot was the Rory Emery episode talking
Did
about the
you?
posters. I was
Brilliant.
fascinated by that. It was a totally new thing to me, and having got a few posters myself, but never thought about it being a business for somebody and the intricacies that could come along with that. I was fascinated by that
That's
episode. I think it's,
brilliant.
it's actually one of my favourites. I would say, to be honest.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Actually, Rory and I had a casual back and forth recently where we mentioned potentially getting him on again, because he's had I think he's had more developments with his business since then. So I'm sure he'd
Oh,
be
good.
ready to talk to us more if people are out there. Because I mean, we've said we would do more on collectibles, and
Mm.
Bond posters, film posters generally are a fantastic way to get into collectibles, and they're just so enjoyable. I mean, you can see behind me, I don't have anything on my walls now. I've only been here 6 or 7 months, and I still haven't got the walls of this apartment. This is just one room. There are plenty of others. We've managed to get a couple of things up, but we've been really poor with putting up some stuff. So I've been saving the Bond collection to wait until I have space allocated and just can go mad around the place. But it
Good.
is great when you have a great film poster, can add a lot of atmosphere to a
Mm.
place and stuff like that. But
It
yeah,
can
that was
unless you're the sole male in a house full of females. You don't get your choice a lot of
yeah,
the time.
yeah,
So
yeah. What
I
you
have
need
those,
is a
but they're
Sean
not
O'Hare
necessarily up.
style man cave, so you can just go bananas.
Yeah. But just
Yeah.
just further on, just from what we were just going through, who would have thought ourselves just over 12 months ago that we would now be sitting? I never thought 12 months ago I'd be a podcaster, never mind 12 months still doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Have the neighbors called the extermination crew and go, they've had some podcasters move in next door. Please get rid of them. They won't stop talking. I know. Who would have thought? Well, I mean, what surprised me is that we were so prolific in the sense that we had lots of stuff that we were able to do. We talked to a lot of people. We had a lot of stuff that we were able to uncover and present as kind of not necessarily new information, because it was not nothing. None of it was absolutely new, but a lot of the stuff that we touched on was perhaps maybe underexploited in terms
Mm.
of the Irish connection to Joanna Harwood, for example.
Yep.
That's one
Yep.
of my favorite episodes, which we're going to talk about. And
Mm.
hopefully I won't spoil too much. We can talk about it. We'll come to it later, but we're going to have more of that kind of journalistic output to come with that Irish focus, because I think for me, at least, that was some of the most gratifying stuff to do. You put in a bit of work, and you get something that people, actual fact based stuff, and people can talk about it, and it's interesting, because the talking shop ones are great fun. They're really super fun. But then you can hang your hat on some of the more the information that you turn up, whether you're looking at
Yeah.
McClory or whatever else. So those are really fun parts. So let's start breaking it down, right? Let's look at the
Mhm.
first. We're going to break this down a little bit into the kind of the guests that we loved. I mean, we loved all our guests. Let's
I
not
know.
let's not say there was a good pile and a bad pile. We loved all our guests. But let's talk about the guests and some of the highlights. Then we'll talk about some of the standout episodes, the themes, and what we might do again. And then stick with us to the end for a special reveal about the James Bond Club Ireland podcast going forward. And actually, that's the reveal. Going forward, I shall be talking like a 1950s or Radio na Gaeltacht the presenter going forward for the rest of the episodes. I think everybody would enjoy that. No, not sure, but we do have a slight change coming up, so stick with us till the end, and we'll talk about that. All right, Sean, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let's talk about our guests. Who are who were some of the highlights that we all agreed on, and the moments that we picked out of the discussion with them? Do you want to give us yours?
Yeah. Well, first off, I'll go, and hope you don't mind me, but it's our very first episode where we had Calvin Dyson on, and Calvin is a joy at the best of times to talk about, but we were focusing on GoldenEye, which is a favorite subject of mine. So I was happy and really enjoyed the chat. And
oh no, I love that the Cue the Music shows have become that kind of real coming together of the fandom. It's a really nice thing because, obviously we don't really have as Bond fans like, like they have Star Wars conventions and Marvel conventions and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like it's sort of up to Bond fans to sort of create those events themselves, I think. And the Cue the Music show has really become that, I think, where everyone kind of gets together every year.
Calvin, we could have talked for hours, to be honest with you. The amount of stuff we just talked about the film, and Calvin just chatting in general, and comparisons with other fan clubs and the work he does, and it was just a joy. And that was, do you know what? We started on a high, and I was going, if this is going to be every Tuesday night, I'm in. So I really enjoyed it.
It's all been downhill from there, hasn't it, Sean?
No, it has not. It has not. But
two of the world's biggest Brosnan fans, though, out of the gate straight away. We started strong, that for you especially.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it was amazing. Loved it. And you could talk to Calvin all night, and he's so nice. The man can just talk about a subject, and the hour was over. We probably talked for an hour and a half, an hour and 3/4, and we tried to cut it down a bit, but there was so much more we could have chatted about. So yeah, a great start to our podcasting career.
Yeah. I mean, I skimmed through that episode just while I was going back, looking at what some of the highlights to pick out. And every time I stopped, there was a frame of Calvin, and he was either smiling or he was really deeply engaged. I mean, he's such a genuine guy. I mean, obviously that's his subject. He loves Brosnan, he loves GoldenEye, and he's part of that, as the GoldenEye generation, as it's called. But he's been also so supportive and so friend of the pod. But he's incredibly insightful as well. He's one of the most articulate of the Bond fans out there as well. I love when you watch a Calvin video and you go, "Yeah, why didn't I think of it that way?" Or he's great. So having him on was great. Andy, I'm guessing that was also something that you enjoyed.
Yes, that was I really enjoyed that. It did give a total. It gave a new perspective to look at it. So I really did enjoy that as an episode. But I have to say, another one of my favourites was the Raymond Benson episode. And
yes,
I really enjoyed that one, and it was good to know that during the chat, when I gave my suggestion for who a new Felix Leiter could be, that Raymond Benson actually agreed with me, which I thought I can't be going far wrong there if he's agreeing.
Yeah, but Thunderball is one of my favorites. Thunderball is magnificent.
Raymond, you are a man of excellent taste, because it is my favorite film. Well, I've spent the last 5 months talking about how wonderful it is.
Thunderball is the peak of Bond mania.
Yes,
it is. Yeah. It is the most. It is the movie that sold the most tickets. They say that Skyfall is like the number one Bond movie or something, but that's not adjusting for inflation.
Inflation, sure.
Thunderball, if you had been there in 1965 to see what a phenomenon that was, it was like Star Wars in 1977. It was a huge blockbuster.
Well, I mean, we were getting a bit spoiled, with these top tier guests coming in, like Raymond. I mean, first of all, just before we leave Calvin, one of the nice things as well that I thought was great about Calvin was he has other fandoms that he's interested as well, and the way he was able to compare the Star Wars fandom and the Bond fandom, which are very different in one sense, but they're also, he's pointing out like that they have events and things that they can go to, whereas the Bond fans tend to do that stuff themselves. And that is pointing out, I guess, really the value of what he does, the clubs like what we do, and we're doing it on our own to keep our community engaged. Who knows where we'll go with Amazon, and I think that's what he was looking forward to as well, as maybe some deeper fan engagement going forward, and I think that's very exciting as well. Fan engagement, I mean, there's no one stronger than Raymond Benson. His obviously he was a continuation novelist for the Bond series as well, the Bond literary series. But his bedside companion book was, I've said this many times, it was just a Bible for me as a kid, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So to get to speak to him was something else. And he's just so easygoing and chatty, right?
Unbelievable. And I was listening again back a few episodes, and you were literally fanboying Paul when you got a chance to chat to him. I had a laugh at that one, but he just took it so
we are
well.
A fan club, so you get what you pay for.
Oh, don't no, but how gracious was he? And that, like, again, we met him during his lunch break, and he wanted to stay on talking. Like, we were near saying, Raymond, I think you have to go now, and he was like, no, I can stay on. And going, whoa, So what another guy, and how insightful he is, and even just chatting to him, we were talking obviously about his new book, The Hook in the Eye, but he was giving us a bit of background to his writing process, even through the continuation novels and like the short timelines he had to produce them, and he was probably doing 2 books a year. Never mind what else other sort of genres he's involved in, but also a font of knowledge. And I loved that we had him on, and he was able to chat about his connection with Eon over a number of years, and they were sort of asking him back to do different things and other things, and he just loves Bond. That is a proper highlight, and that is a proper, I would class him as Bond royalty that we were able to talk to. So yeah, it's proper
brilliant,
class.
And another one that I really enjoyed, I'm slightly biased because he's a mate, is AJ.
And then Matthew and I eventually got him on the phone in the Bahamas, and we get a quote from him for our book, Some Kind of Hero. Brilliant. And the irony is he's too busy, but he'll come back to us later. Now, the irony is, even if we'd done a deep dive interview, we were so past our deadline, there's no way we could have put it in the book. And later on, we spoke to him, but he was beginning his decline. He said the phone line is very difficult. He said it was a long time ago. It was an elegiac thing. We subsequently wrote something called Sean Connery, A James Bond Journey, a really recommended bookazine that MI6 Confidential, that wonderful 30-year-old institution run by James Page and Vipul Patel, who do great James Bond journals. I really advocate. It's a bit part thing that finds so much stuff. We produced, with their indulgence, a great Sean Connery retrospective, drawing from contemporary interviews of Sean Connery throughout the time, prior to him being Bond, then throughout. So it's great to hear him quite lyrical about James Bond, enjoying the James Bond experience. And even Diamonds Are Forever, Never Say Never Again. And we've got some great interviews there.
I mean, AJ is another fountain of knowledge again, and he's the kind of guy who, he's so encouraging for what you do, and he's so willing to pitch in and give time and effort. I mean, they all are, but he is a standout, I think, as is David Zaritsky as well. Actually,
that was another good one.
I was enjoying the David Zaritsky episode where, one of the nice things about what we did there was the unloved Bond films, and it can be tempting. I see, sometimes if you're on the below the line commentary to just go, I hate this film, I hate this. But there you were sitting kind of opposite someone who probably liked it. So you had to justify, you had to substantiate your claim. You couldn't just go, I hate this. And you go, well, tell me why. And and then someone else is going to point out, well, actually, I liked it, and here's why I like it. And when you're forced to do that face to face rather than sort of sniping at one another beneath the line, it's like you got to be critical thinking. You got to use your own brain. You got to use some self-awareness, and you also have to sort of stand up for your case. Put your case forward. And I found that really enjoyable. And he's always finding the positive in things. Like he's saying, like, films like, and if you go to a film and it's at an event, if you're with other people, or if it's something like a premiere or something, that sticks with you, and so it almost taints your opinion of the film in the positive direction as well, which is
true.
super fun.
Because I'm like, it's been probably years since I've seen Die Another Day, and part of me says, sit through the whole thing, grin and bear it. But I mean, I think the context thing, again, comes into play with you, Sean, of being in university and nostalgia, because there are some people that went to the No Time to Die premiere. And because they were at the premiere and the parties, that's raised up their appreciation of No Time to Die, of all things, that film, because they were at the premiere. So it's amazing what those moments can do for you.
But it was definitely something like that episode, and to be honest with you, any episode you do, you got to do your homework. It's got to be now, and it's an enjoyable process for me, because I'm reading into something that we all like and love. But you got to be on point. You got to be on your game, like you say. You can't rock into an episode like that and go, "Well, I like the film." You got to back up why you like the film and take a few hits and be able to reply back. So there's a number of, like, all the episodes, no matter who we've been interviewing or chatting about, you got to do a bit of prep work, which stands you in good stead, but it gives you more information and more wider knowledge of the Bond or the whole universe, So that's a positive for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could rock up, just hope for the best, but it would be a bit mid, as the kids say these days, I believe.
Very nice.
Yeah, very nice. Lovely to hear some middle-aged men congratulating each other and knowing how the kids talk these days.
Or at least
what was that, Andy?
Or at least one of the middle-aged men seems to know what the kids are saying, because I've never heard of that.
Okay, let's park it there, because I think you might reach the boundaries of my Gen Z speak already. So the next, I think, we've another one was Thomas Felix Creighton. I mean, that guy just jumped on. He was just we spoke to him. Would you like to be on this? Because we found the Fleming Never Dies and the sort of he was very into British culture, and obviously we were keen to tie Irish culture to Bond. I was like, well, where can these meet? There's going to be some interesting stuff here. And he just came on, and he was just such an interesting guy, and he's so willing to be part of it. Like, he really wanted to be part of the discussion. And you just kind of could sit down and sit back and listen to him chat for ages. He's got so much world experience himself, I mean, I joke that he was kind of a hybrid of Bond and Lawrence of Arabia with his travels and his experience and but he's super smart, super experienced, and just another great guest, right? So I think,
No, he was, and I was just going to say, the opportunity to talk to people like this, once again, sort of, we've been following these people from afar, I would say, and then you get a chance, like, not face to face, but on screen, you're chatting to them. And I was very lucky to meet Thomas last year at Cue the Music, the day after it, and like, that man wanted to chat to you, wanted to talk to you, whereas a lot of people, shake your hands, move on. He was really engaging, and what an interesting guy. Once again, we're very lucky to talk to these people. Very lucky.
Yeah, and then they just, then they're your peers. You're like, oh wow, this, we're doing this, he's doing this, and that's, I think, we've said it before, and I would encourage people who are like listening to this and might never have been to a Bond event, or might never have, met some of the people in the Bond community. I would just encourage you to come to anything, whether it's a screening or, if there's something happening in London or the UK or anywhere else. Come along. It's people are very welcoming, and they're fascinating. A lot of them as well.
And people are so friendly. Like, you might even recognize somebody, but you'll recognize, well, that's a tie from Tomorrow Never Dies, and that's a tie from The World Is Not Enough. And within 2 minutes, you're talking about a film to them, and
it's a conversation starter, right? Exactly.
Exactly.
I agree completely. Yeah, it's really fun. You meet all sorts of. I'm really annoyed. I'm gonna forget this gentleman's name. I met a man. Remember, we were in the hotel with the money pennies, and this guy was just chatting to me, and he says he had a slightly unusual name. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm a distant relative of Karl Marx." I'm like, oh, tell me more about that, And off he goes, telling me his life history, and I'm like, didn't see that one coming. Actually, Tom Pickup was beside me when I said that, and he said, "What did he say?" He goes, that's even more improbable than the Brofeld relationship, Inspector. He just said that off the top of, like, I was like, that was a quick response.
Brilliant.
Anyway, I've rambled down a rabbit hole here. In terms of improbable happenings, let's look at the standout episodes. Andy, what was a standout episode for you?
Again, like I think I jumped the gun a little bit. For me, the standout episode was the Rory Emery episode. That would be the one.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed being part of it, and I really enjoyed listening back to it afterwards.
Yeah,
I just found the whole thing just fascinating. The whole process about it. It was one that it almost caught me by surprise, but in the nicest possible way. And like I say, that to me is one of the standouts, along with, like everybody would say, would be Raymond Benson would be another. And like I say, I could start and maybe get a bit paranoid when, two of the really good episodes were David Zaretsky and AJ Chowdhury, when I was sick and only managed to say hello to him and drop off the screen. So
if you could stop getting knocked over by your dog and similar episodes, you'd be in on these, Yeah.
Oh, very good.
That was
very
unfortunate.
good.
But like Rory gave us some lovely feedback as well. He contacted us later on to say that somebody he was working with actually heard, somebody based in New York, I think, actually heard him on James Bond Club Ireland and was interested in what he was doing as a result and contacted him. And I don't know who you are, a New York listener, but hello and thank you for listening.
Yep.
And that it was just lovely. He took the time and trouble to come back and tell us that he'd received positive feedback himself through his experience on this podcast, which was really nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a circle of appreciation that we really shouldn't start going down, or else we'd be sitting at the end of it telling each other how wonderful we are, and we said we wouldn't do that. So let's go then. Sean, what was your standout episode?
There's obviously been quite a few. I said I really enjoyed the David Zaretsky episode, the non-love Bonds. That we all love a Bond film, and it was just nice to be able to chat about some of the lesser talked about Bond films and actually give you appreciation for other films that guys were talking about. Like, I wouldn't be the biggest Diamonds Are Forever fan or Quantum, No Time to Die, but it made you go back and revisit them films, and you sort of take away a few different points and a different appreciation of the film. Like, it mightn't still be your favorite, but you can sort of see where people are coming from. And look, we're always half full opposed to half empty on the podcast here, so it just gives you a different perspective. But that, and just a very, very quick shout out, I really enjoyed just the John, Remembering John episode. It was just nice to mark the first anniversary of his passing, and just the love and respect is still out there for him. So it was another nice episode. It was something we really wanted to do, so it was nice to do that. So
yes, but I think that was cathartic for us as well.
It was. It was nice. It was nice and nice to remember him. But I just also want to shout out, because Rory's episode, again, very surprised how sort of interest it was for me. I knew of Rory just on Instagram and that, but what a lovely guy. He's so easy to chat to, and he just comes across so well. And he was sort of saying before, he hasn't really done much of this here, and that guy could just talk. So good.
So good. Very good. He's very good. And he's very knowledgeable. He is. He's a great guy. I met him through a few of the guys in the UK that I've been friends with from the start, and he's a friend of David West and AJ's and Tom Ryan's, and he just instantly, he was just easy to get on with, kind of the guy you just want to sit down and have a beer with. He actually was on holidays in Switzerland during the summer, and he stopped by on his way home. We had a beer and lunch together. It was great fun.
Nice one.
That was nice. That was nice. So I hope to see him again soon. Rory, if you're listening, let's make it happen.
Paul, can I give one quick shout out?
Please.
The other episode again, and it was so good and so different, was the episode you did about Joanna Harwood. That is just something that it was so different to what we normally do, if that makes sense, and it was an actually very interesting listen. So,
and Shauna, you did ask at I think more than once, did she feel that she was being treated in a sexist manner? And she kind of said no, but then she said, well, they were being sexist, but I don't think they saw it as such, or she just thought that's the way that they thought about women in those days. So she just dealt with it as though it was the norm and got on with it anyway, kind of a thing.
Yeah, and I think it did. Whether she just, because I was like, does she just not notice it, or it's so normal that you don't question it? But she certainly, you know, I suppose I'm coming from a different lens, so I'm asking her from a lens many years later, where you look back and you're like, oh my God, this. But yeah, she was. I did ask her a good bit about that, and I suppose I was putting what I thought she should answer into. I was expecting that answer, and then she was not giving it to me, and which was brilliant in one way, because she's like, this is not how I felt about it.
Yeah.
But she found it tough. She certainly found it tough. But I think she just found it tough in general because it's a tough industry. And she did say that it is a tough industry.
Thank you. That is actually the one I was going to call out as my standout episode. And, that was at a time when we were finding our feet. We didn't really know how to structure it. And I did it on my own because we had a panel of guests that I'd invited. And if we had everyone here on it as well, it would have been just enormous. It would be like Newsnight or something. So, but that came about. I don't know who was it. Somebody in the group, in the WhatsApp group that we had, pinged us one Christmas. I mean, Christmas of must have been 2023 going on. Was it 2024 going on 2025? Yeah. And said, "Oh, there's a documentary on Joanna Harwood on RTE." And for anyone not familiar with RTE, it's Radio Tilla Fisher and the Irish national broadcaster. And I checked it out, and it was this amazing journalist called Shauna McCreevy who had gone to the south of France, or is it Monaco? Is that where I think Joanna lives? And had interviewed her. And like very few people within the Bond community have interviewed her. I mean, there are a few going back. I think Matthew Field may have done so, a couple of others, but very few have interviewed her because she's kind of reclusive. But it turns out she's an amazing character in her own right, and she comes from County Wicklow. And listening to Shauna's documentary was incredible. So I reached out to her. She mentioned us to Joanna, who sent her best wishes to us. She didn't want to do an interview with us. She does very little press these days, and she'd already just done one with Shauna. So we completely understand and appreciate that. But we had the next best thing, which was talk to Shauna, and then we got some guys on from the Bond community, David Lobergelis, Monica Germana, and Catherine Vinclair, all got to talk because they all have their, they all have written books and have different angles on Bond and on writers and women in Bond. Monica has a great book called Bond Girls, and to get their insight was particularly good. There's one part of that episode that sticks in my craw a little bit because I asked Shauna about Joanna writing the female parts, and the way I phrased it seemed to trigger David Lobergelis a bit, because he was like, I don't like when people assume that a female writer is brought on simply to write the female parts. And he made an excellent point, but I wasn't really trying to get at that. I was trying to get at the idea of how did she view the characters generally in the 60s, and how did she view Bond's interaction with women and women interaction over there. But it didn't really matter. It was just it went off. But I didn't want to be I didn't want to be seen as the guy who just assumed that either, because then they went on to a point about how the press had all said that Phoebe Waller-Bridge had been brought on as help to write No Time to Die, which is immediately sort of putting women in a sort of the back seat in terms of writers. And it's definitely not what I wanted to do, because I really think Joanna sort of got hard done by her contribution to the first two films, and she's a little bit marginalized, but that's why I really wanted to celebrate her in this particular episode. And I think we did it. So that was great. All right, so what would we do again? I'll go first. what I would really like to do more of is I would like to do more of the kind of thing we did with the Joanna Harwood episode, which is go deep on a subject related to Bond, if possible, connected with Ireland. I know that we have some Irish connections to the Bond industry. AJ was actually making a great comment. He was championing Irish talent that have contributed to the film industry and particularly to Bond. And I would really like to champion that, especially those bits that are a little bit underrepresented. And we do have something on the boil, which is coming up soon, where I'm not going to give away any pieces about it now, but that will be an interesting episode when it comes out. Sean, I know you're leading the charge on that one. So so we'll just tell our audience to keep coming back so that we're going to get a great one on soon. But that's really what I like. It's like, I hesitate to use the word journalistic because we are not journalists, but we are just trying to bring to the fore stuff that people may not know about or may know a little bit about, but is possibly underexploited in the Bond world. So let's do more of that. That really interests me.
Good.
And then, of course, celebrating all the stuff that goes on, like the 20th anniversary, anything that comes up that might be related to the new film, to the new video game, or any other type of Bond adjacent stuff. New novels, there are going to be new novels coming out. Kim Sherwood, and there's going to be more. It's going to be great, great year. So we'll be on top of all of that stuff. What would you guys like to do going forward?
It reaches on from a. Sorry, I thought I was on mute then. Sorry. I want to go. It reaches out from one of the questions that we were asked when we asked the poll out. I'd like to explore a bit more about, especially yours and mine, Paul, possibly opposing Bond views, and see where that takes us.
Shall we tell them what we talked about?
Well, I think we can save that for another day, can't we?
Okay. We've got a little surprise coming up. It's going to be like kind of an amusing game show format, but suffice it to say, it will pit two Bond fans against each other in an amusing scenario. So keep an eye out for that. That'll be coming soon. Right, so let's just leave it at that for now.
So we'll leave that one at that. But I'd like to do maybe. I think we could explore more when we attend events. I think I think I'd like to see more of that because again, I think we'll all be attending London later this year for the Cue the Music.
And you know what we'll do, Andy? And I think you're absolutely bang on with that. What we will do is we'll do what we haven't done before was, rather than stick a pic up on Instagram and say, there's Johnny, Tommy, and Mary who turned up. What we'll do is, and Johnny, Tommy, and Mary did turn up, by the way, but what we'll do is we'll do a write-up and we'll have it on our website and we'll do a little bit of background and who was there and what happened and stuff so that people who were not at it can experience a little bit vicariously through us, read about it, get some pictures. We'll do it proper magazine style. So it's a little bit of a souvenir piece rather than just a couple of social media posts. We'll go old school and do a proper article on it and pin it up on the website going forward. Because I think you're right. I think we need to properly celebrate those events a little bit more than we have doing. So you're 100% bang on there.
Nice one.
Sean.
Yeah, well, slightly different, but I really enjoyed, and I know it took us 4 parts to do it, but we did a bit of a deep dive into it was Daniel Craig's Bond and the films, and I would like maybe to fall back and do maybe 1 or 2 other of the Bonds over the next year or so, which would be great. But we've so much planned, and following off on your point, Paul, I know it's part of the podcast, but I'd also like to develop the website more in terms of more articles that we're doing, and it'll fall out of episodes that we're doing. So it's a great way to document, and people can sort of fall back onto the website and catch up on other articles we have as well.
Any particular Bond that you want to go through, Sean?
Probably Timothy Dalton or something.
Timothy, yeah. That's what
I can feel the whiplash hurting even more.
No, you know where I'm going with that one.
I do, and I'm only going to do it if we can nab him for an interview. Mr. Brosnan, we're looking at you.
Let's go.
Come on down. Come on in, Pierce. The water's warm. Look, this would be
and friendly,
yeah. That would be absolutely brilliant. Yeah. I mean, we did do an incredibly deep dive on Daniel Craig. Even if Daniel Craig watched it, he'd be like, I need a break. I need to go for a cup of tea at this point. But yeah, that was good fun. It was good fun for us. It was exhaustive, mind you. But yeah, that was great. Let's do another one with Pierce. I completely agree. Okay. So let's turn it over. Let's talk a little bit about what we want to do going forward. We do have a small, I don't know, it's an announcement. It's just a little rebrand because we're going to change the name of the pod because JBCI Pod is kind of cool, but before it becomes too associated with us, somebody made the point that you're not really that findable out there as a James Bond podcast. So how do we make it very identifiable immediately when you look at us? These guys are James Bond related podcasts, so we're going to tweak our name slightly just to show that we're still going to be the James Bond Club Ireland group, but we are now going for, and yes, this is a cheesy pun, but here it comes, we're going to be the double O pod, double O apostrophe pod. You see what we've done there? Michael's going to put a thumbnail to that up here so you can see what we look like. Otherwise, all service remains the same, but we will have a slightly new name going forward. So yeah, we hope you like it, but even if we don't, it's still going to be us. So yeah, it's tough luck. It's happening. So that's our update. Otherwise, more of the same, a little bit more.
Slightly new name, but with new and improved content.
Yes, and new and improved us as well. We're going for some lip filler, some tummy tucks, and some buttock lifts. So we'll be fabulous going forward as well. Isn't that right, boys?
That may well be a hint as to where Kev is this evening.
Kev comes back with a very straight nose, not showing any emotion when he smiles.
Yeah, you're frozen. Oh shit, you are actually frozen.
And he can't sit down.
Old Botox O'Callaghan, we'll call him. Yeah. You can't really be absent from these pods, can you? Because you just get shredded. Poor Kev. All right. Look, thanks very much for joining us for this. This has been a little bit of fun, a little bit of looking backwards, but really we want to be looking forward. So we look forward to continuing in 2026. You haven't on the journey with us. It's been great. And I guess we'll see you in a week, maybe two. Let's see how it goes. All right. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, folks.
Bye-bye.
All the best.
Cheers, guys. All the best.
And cut it there.